Nonic Nonsense, a show where the mic tape on the back of your neck is more stable than your mental health. I am Kat Gold.
I am Michael Matadomini. Oh my God, today, listen to this guest. So I see him as basically my older brother at this point. I've done 3 contracts with this man. One when I was 15, one where I had to kiss him. Kat, go ahead and give your little introduction to him.
I met this lovely individual in 2017, doing the incredible highbrow musical Saturday Night Fever, where we discoed and shook our asses to the Bee Gees for many months. Anyway, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for the warm introduction. Thank you so much. Michael, I like to see myself more as like your dad kind of figure, bruh, more than like a brother. You know what I mean?
Or not even dad, more like daddy.
Oh my God. Man, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you getting me in on the 17th episode. 17. I was telling Kat, I was like, 17 is my favorite number, and the fact that you made that work is awesome. Also, I'm so fucking nervous now. I wasn't nervous talking before, and now I'm getting a little. I feel like I'm performing now. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm gonna get a fucking carbonell out. Is it what it called carbonell out of this
Pasta
shit?
carbonara.
You know what I mean? Like my
Pasta
theater brain is
carbonara.
starting to activate again. I'm like, fuck, I don't gotta perform, bro. Just fucking talk.
Listen,
No.
when we finish up season 1, we'll have to do like an award show for Nonic Nonsense and present a bunch of awards.
Oh my God, that'd be an amazing episode. We'll make golden eggs for everyone.
Everyone gets a golden egg.
Proudly in my living
Everyone
room.
gets a golden egg, like cursed golden egg. No, but see, I just thought it was funny that you wanted to be episode 17 because I thought it was a reference to the two of you doing Heathers pretty recently. Would you like to talk about that nonsense?
Oh yeah, I'll start. Because anything at the Lake Worth Playhouse is Nonic Nonsense. God bless, peace and love.
As a person who's done 3 shows there. Yep.
Yeah.
Right. So I think the Lake Worth Playhouse cursed me with the old people roles because it was the first old person role I ever played.
And your
I went
hairline
into that.
cursed you with that.
Exactly. Right. Yours too. So
Thank you.
So I went in for JD. And I was at this audition and I was sitting there and I was, getting ready, and I see Bruno peek the corner and show up, and I was like, oh shit, what's up? He goes, I'm auditioning.
That was like the first time I had seen you in like years.
Fun fact,
Yeah,
I was also at that audition. Not auditioning, just there to shoot the shit with people.
Yeah, I remember that. We're outside just hanging out.
Yeah.
But it was the first time I had seen Michael in probably like at least 5 years, right, Michael?
Yeah, it was a long ass fucking time.
Yeah.
We did Bonnie and Clyde at FAU back in 2015 when I was.
That was with Drew and Ashley, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, she did such a great job on that as Blanche. Such a great job. I remember that.
That was a terrific fucking show. It really was. It's still to this day like one of my parents' favorite shows. Like when they talk about like the shit that I've done, they still bring up Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, that one was really, really cool. But what shocked me the most is because like I hadn't seen you in 7 years, and you went from being somebody that like I looked like literally down to, like in the sense of like you were like 4'5", and then I fucking see you at the audition. I'm like, what the fuck? What in the giant and the fucking peach shit is going on here? You know what I mean? So that kind of threw me off for a loop, and then God's probably bigger than mine now too, so whatever, bro.
Whatever, bro. So, we're sitting outside and we're chatting this shit, and we both go in and we're both like, oh, okay, great. Next day, we text each other, and I was like, hey, I got called back for Kurt's dad. I'm not fucking going in. This is stupid. And he goes, well, I got called in for Ram's dad, and I went, all right, I'm going in. I was like, all right, cool. Went in, read the couple of lines. It was like they were giggling. I was like, oh, I mean, like, I hope they're giggling. Like, this is like fucking, the script is feeding laughs. So if I don't get a laugh, like there's something wrong. And I get Kurt's dad and I text him and I'm like, if he didn't get Ram's dad, I was like, I'm not doing this fucking show. So,
And I feel the same way though, because if I if you didn't accept your role, and I know you were like debating if you wanted to do it or not, I probably would have turned it down as well because like the one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to do that role was because it would be counterparts with you, and we would get to like play around with that as well. The American dad accent made it even better. That hey, yeah, what I mean that was a pretty cool little touch too, which I think took it to the next level. But you definitely made that experience fucking awesome for me. And I keep cutting
Yeah,
you
no,
off,
it was Heather's Junior, the daycare, the musical, during over the summer. At least that's what it felt like. I
They
love
were
Debbie.
so young. They were like actual teenagers, which like in my opinion, teenagers should not be doing this show.
No,
It should only be adults. So like it made sense like you were going in for the role you were going in for, but then
yeah.
seeing being there at the call and looking at the sea of like fetuses, it makes sense that you know
correct, because they couldn't, cast fucking 47-year-olds and then have Veronica be 16 because disgusting. And you're also going to jail. Like the cops will be waiting for you during bows with handcuffs. So, there's that. But, I went in and, Debbie Marcucci was great and, Cassie was great as her choreographer. But, like the experience was made by this guy because I'm not making friends with fucking 13-year-olds. I was 22 at the time.
I would
not...
hope you're not making friends with 13-year-old Michaels. We would have to
Okay,
have a
all right, buddy.
separate
So
conversation with handcuffs.
just what's his face from Catch a Predator.
Chris Hansen comes into this
Just like
podcast.
fucking Michael.
This guy, really?
FBI is like hacking into like non-equity fucking podcast. Got his ass.
But Bruno and I had to sing the lovely number that honestly knocked the house down every single night. Dead Gay Son. We had a fucking blast with that. I think you and I basically, Cassie was like, I'll work on the ensemble stuff. You guys figure out what you want to do for this. And we were like, sure. Mm-hmm. So we came up with like all this fun choreo, Bruno slapping my ass. I'm me picking him up and spinning him around, like doing all this fun stuff.
We're gonna have to put a clip in here because like there's
boom.
Yeah, we got some good footage.
We got 27 camera angles from every single person that went to the show.
Every night, Michael would be like, I had a friend, he recorded it. It was at the end, you can make a fucking Steven Spielberg movie out of only us singing. Because there was fucking aerial views, there was people like from the bottom and shit. I'm like, bruh. It was a great number though. I still have that on my phone. I listen to it from time to time, but it was so much fun. And I remember really liking. So I did it the first time with Slow Burn Theater. I played JD about like 100 pounds ago, and then fucking. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I can't fucking play JD no more. But I remember even when I did Heather's the first time. I really loved listening to Dead Gay Son. It was Ben
Sandomir.
Yeah, Sandomir, and then I forgot the name of the other gentleman, but he was great too. But I just remember like how he commanded the stage and just how hilarious he was. And I think the funny thing about that song is that it's not supposed to be played in a comedic way. It's supposed to be played truthfully, and in that truth, there's comedy in it. And it was just so nice to do it with Michael because, like, him and I, we've had great chemistry, on stage and off stage as well, just like as friends. That it was just like the most freeing experience that I had on stage, where like I could be with another actor and we can just bounce ideas back and forth with each other, and there's no like, I don't know, maybe there was. And there was when it came down to the kissing. I let Michael touch in on that. And I'll pick it up where he leaves off.
Yep.
But tell him about it. Tell him about it, Michael.
Yeah, so let's talk about it, Bruno. So
just fucking tell them how soft my lips are, baby.
They're so soft.
That's it.
Just should I leave the Zoom room?
You know what I'm saying? All we had to do was kiss. He didn't have to grab my cock. Tell him about that. Tell him about that.
So all throughout rehearsal, we're doing the thumb thing, right? Thumbs in the way, whatever, blah blah blah.
Because like pussy, you are.
You're gonna we're gonna. There's a scene where we say a line and then we lock eyes and then we go up to each other And then every musical, like they make out. I have never, sorry to hijack the story, I've never kissed a man in my life.
Same here.
Like when I was a kid, I'd be like, bye dad, hi dad, but it's like a Brazilian thing. And I was fucking 4. I never kissed a man in my life. Michael's never kissed a man in his life, I would assume, right, Michael?
No, never did.
Yeah.
You were the first.
Very convincing, Michael.
Okay, buddy.
But like, so whenever we did the scene, we would get real close, and then I would do that, he would do that, and then we'd like, you know what I mean? Make it seem. All right, continue. Sorry.
So opening night comes along, the numbers going swimmingly, and our blocking separates us. So he goes all the way stage left, and I go all the way stage right, as far downstage as you possibly can, to the point where I'm speaking to the audience. Like, he's talking about like shooting his gay son, and I'm like apologizing to the audience as if they're a part of the funeral. Like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed. And he rats me out, and he goes, talking you and me in the summer of '83. And I turn around, and my line is, that's one hell of a fishing trip. But opening night, I say that line, and I turn around, and I look at him dead in the face, and all he does is this. And I was like,
and he knew it.
I knew it.
Well, before that, because during rehearsals, it was very well known that like, hey, we're not gonna kiss each other. Right? We're not gonna kiss. Let's just pretend. Like, go right here, I go right there. We'll look downstage and like, or whatever, and then it'll seem like we're kissing. And he's like, yeah, for sure, we'll do that. We don't have to kiss. Blah 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 blah. And we had never rehearsed it. We had never done it on stage.
Which is
We've never done it like just like, hey,
to not even rehearse it is
no, it was no
bonkers.
Rehearsal, nothing. It was no like, yo, let's go to the back. Let's get it out the way real quick. Nothing.
Pause.
You know what I mean? There was none of that. And it was the most unprofessional thing I think I've ever done. And if it wasn't for Michael, I probably would have gotten decked in the face, and I would have been 100% at fault. And he could have easily done that, taken that route, and be really, really upset at it. But come opening night, I don't know what it was, man. I don't know if it was like the chemistry or like, I don't know, maybe I had a glass of wine or some shit before, and I don't know. But like, it was just like the audience was just, everything was just hitting that night. It was just going crazy. And I was like, I'm not about to be the fucking guy that brings the energy down by being like, look at these guys, they can't even kiss. What kind of fucking actors are these? You know what I mean? And I was just like, I looked at Michael and I was just like, I trust him. You know what I'm saying? And that to me is huge. When 2 actors trust each other, I was like, I trust this guy. You know what I'm saying? And you know what? Let's fucking find out how tasty those lips are, bro. Okay? In the most heterosexual way. You know what I mean?
We had socks on. It was totally okay.
So we fucking locked eyes, and just like Michael said, I give him like a little nod, and you just kind of saw like this, like it was like confusion, acceptance, fucking fear, and like just like
I turned pale
all at once, and I just grabbed his beautiful little face, and I just lay a juicy one on him, and that was the most organic acting expression I've ever seen in anyone's face, because you can't practice that shit. You can't practice having a first male kiss on stage in front of like 300 people, never rehearsed. So when I kissed him and I pulled back, his fucking eyes are like, dude, what the fuck? What are you doing? And also like a little hint of love in there, you know what I mean? Like he kind of liked it. I was like, relax, bro. You know what I mean? But, and then...
See, now, real quick, I remember it differently, Bruno.
Lost it.
Hold on. I remember it fucking differently, buddy. Because what happened was I went in to put my thumb in the way, and you saw me go for the thumb, and you grabbed me by my collar and yanked me in. Okay, you two-handed my collar and
the only thing that I wanted The only place I wanted those two fingers at the end of the day was around my neck, baby, because it felt good. You know what I mean? I was like, where are we going after this? We want to get some drinks after this shit? What's going on, man? And
It's happening already.
Come, bro. You know what I mean?
No, but
it was
the best
great.
part, dude.
However, go ahead.
The best part about all of this is we went backstage and you were fucking high-fiving everyone. Like, yeah, see what I did? That wasn't planned. That wasn't planned.
I was like, am I coming out the closet right now?
Right. So the funniest part is I went off stage left and you went off stage right. So everyone was waiting for you downstairs on stage right. And I walked down by myself, like, right? And you came up to me, you're like, wasn't that great? Wasn't that awesome? And I turned to you and I went, do you want to give me a heads up next time? Right? And you were like, but it was funny. And I was like, you're damn right. We're doing it for 16 more shows. So.
Nah. So this is what happened. Before we got to the 16 more shows, right? This is what happened. Michael was mad. Let's not skip that part, Michael. Michael was mad at me, rightfully so. Rightfully so. Because I went downstairs, blah blah blah, and then he was a little stern. He was like, "Damn, bro, like you're not give me a heads up." I was like, he's like, let's not do that again. And like I didn't take it personal because I was like, he's 100% right. I should have communicated that with him, right? Come the next day, right? The next fucking day, he's like, bro, and I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, so we got a really good. Reaction out of the stage, the crowd yesterday, and like, my friends saw it, and they all really liked it. He's like, should we just kiss for the remainder of the show? That point, I was just clenching onto my purse and shit. I was like, I guess, fuck, I feel like now I need consent. You know what I mean? So it was good, but like he had all the right. It was just like a whirlwind of emotions that day. You know what I mean? Like I should have definitely had a better approach. I would never do that again with somebody that I'm not comfortable with. You know what I mean? But I think Michael is just like class act, man. I just fucking love working him. And the fact that he was just like, fucking game on, man. And every night that number hit. It didn't matter how the rest of the show was going. That number was kind of like, it was almost like a breath of fresh air in the show for like a little, because it gets very dark. And Kat is completely correct. Like, Heathers is a beautiful show because of the message, like I got bullied a lot when I was in school, and I feel like a lot of people can relate to being bullied and things like that. And we even work with a lot of people that had personal traumas with things that they have gone through, like in their experience. And I remember, one of the girls that I worked with in that show, she was getting bullied at school, and she thought about, taking that route, you know what I mean? Where, she didn't feel like, she could take it anymore. And I remember like going into, pulling her to a side with another coworker or actor. And I was like, hey, listen, you're important, you're valued, you're loved. Like, don't let these people take anything away from you. And then like, it kind of it made me look at Heathers in a different lens of like how it's important that the message that they were portraying about like, bullying and shit like that, and like what the outcomes can be, and I really respected the show even more afterward. But I thought it was great. But as to Kat's point, should a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old be in that kind of show? I don't know,
No, I don't.
No.
I don't think so at all. Especially with all the sensitive topics in that show, from unaliving to SA to all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's correct for anyone below 18 to be in that show.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've done a lot of Blue shows, to be quite frank. A lot of Blue shows, and most of them have a disclaimer when you show up that if you're under 18, you are not allowed to audition. And honestly, like, I get that some people may be 18 and still in school. It should be if you are 18 or still in school, you should not be able to do some of these things. I think because like they're not at that point yet. Where
no, for sure, and I think they're still developing with their emotions, 100%. Yeah.
It's
And
it's
especially like
just yeah.
no, especially like I remember when I did it for Slow Burn. You know, I think I might have been like 20, 25 at that point playing JD. I went home every night with like a cloud over me. Because it's just so dark. You know what I mean? Like JD has a nice he has a nice curvature to his storyline, but it's like, you know, he goes from being like nice and kind and then conniving and then an asshole and then a dick and then a murderer. And then, you know, so then like by the time I used to get to the end of the show, I used to be exhausted, but just like mentally fatigued. And I can only imagine, of course, like I feel like age has a big impact on how well a person acts because
Mm-hmm.
nothing is a better teacher in acting than life, right? So you go through things in life and then you take that in and then you can put that towards characters that you play and it brings more of a realism to what you're trying to portray. Whereas I feel like when you're really young, you don't know that yet. You know what I'm saying? So it could be, you know, I don't know. It could be kind of a scary playground to be in, you know, at that
No,
age.
I get it because like I've been on both sides of it. So like I've done a lot of blue shows as an adult, which
Mm-hmm.
is one thing when you're an adult and you get the content and you know you can treat it as such. But I remember in high school, I was 17 years old and my best friend was with me. We did it for my senior project in high school. Me and my best friend did Stonewater Rapture by Doug Wright, which is a really dark two-person show about bullying, religious trauma, SA, where we would simulate things in the show, and a lot of like really aggressive language, a lot of aggressive content in the show. It's a beautiful show, and I don't regret doing it because it was a lovely experience to do that show at the right age with my friend
Mm-hmm.
who I felt extremely safe with, because we were both in that book together. But as an adult now, looking back, like uh, I that's something that should have been done in college,
Mm-hmm.
not by two actual 17-year-olds who were
Right.
dealing with similar situations to the script.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a
Yeah.
little too spicy. I don't regret it at this point because of the experience that I had with my co-star, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely, you know, hindsight is 2020. You know,
Mm-hmm.
children need to not be doing adult content.
100%. I 100% agree. 100% agree. And I feel like, you know, like the older you get, when you do some shows, it almost becomes like therapeutic
Yeah.
because it's like sometimes theater can be like a window to expressing what you're feeling on the inside, and you finally are able to put it in the right words that maybe you didn't know how to do it before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice that you can channel in all those things, and then maybe through script you can even have that therapeutic moment of being able to put that out there. And you know, I personally, I've had a lot of experiences like that. Actually, one of my favorite moments was with Patrick. Makes me always want to cry when I talk about it. But I remember doing Rent with Patrick, and it was probably the most beautiful thing that he said. Right, I really love my grandmother. Anybody that's close to me knows that me and my grandmother is my world. She's no longer with us, and it's been a long time since that. But it's somebody that I keep dear to my heart, and I always think about. And I, you know, like I don't think I've ever got to mourn my grandmother because she passed away in Brazil, and I haven't gone to Brazil in a long time, so I never really, you know, got to mourn or to kind of let go of that. And Patrick has a really beautiful way of that day to be able to channel everybody's emotion. He was trying to bring out a lot of realism from Rent because, you know, it's a rock opera, so I feel like, you know, things can get mixed up if you don't tell the story and it's just all about singing and your vocals. So if you stick to the story and each individual character, Rent can be even more beautiful. And Patrick did a great job at doing that. So we're sitting around, I forgot what it's called. We had a studio that we used to go meet up at, somewhere in Fort Lauderdale. I think it was called I forgot what it was called, Spark, I think, something like that. But anyways, we're sitting around and we're about to start doing Seasons of Love, right? And we were singing it through it a couple of times, and it's like it almost felt like the everyone as a cast wasn't really like feeling the emotions that we should be feeling about Seasons of Love, because it's essentially a song about like, this is how much time we have on Earth. These are how many seasons we have on Earth. How are you going to use all of that time, or the little amount of time? Because we don't know, right? I could walk out that door and die right now. Like, we don't know tomorrow, right? I felt like he felt like maybe we didn't understand what we were singing about. And to be quite honest with you, maybe I didn't. You know what I mean? Maybe I didn't know what I was thinking about at the time. And he's like, guys, I just want everybody to have a moment. And he was like, I want you to think of a person that you really, really care about, that maybe is here or maybe no longer with us anymore. And if you only had 5 minutes to I get goosebumps just talking about it. If you had 5 minutes to talk to somebody that you really, really care about, what would you say to that person? How would it make you feel if they walked in this room right now and you had that moment to talk to them? And he's like, channel that. I'm going to give you a few minutes to channel that. And when we're done with a couple of minutes, we're going to sing this song one more time. And man, I understood it. I understood the whole show right after that. And we sang Seasons of Love one more time. And man, I couldn't even get the first lyric out. And I probably cried from the first lyric all the way to the end. And I'm not a big crier when it comes to like crying in public. And I was bawling. I was just absolutely bawling. I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was like, I was finally able to mourn like my grandmother's passing through theater, through lyrics, through the emotions that I was able to trigger by being an actor. And I found that beautiful. So, just that strong correlation about like how it is important for some shows to be cast appropriate by age because of these strong feelings. But also on the other hand, when you're an older actor and you understand shit and you understand what you're saying, why these motions, it could be therapeutic, to channel that and be able to verbally communicate that out. So I thought that was very beautiful.
No, I can completely agree. Especially when I did Into the Woods in October, because I went through something over the summer and I was having a hard time trying to figure out things about it. And I went into the woods and I was the understudy for the baker. And I would constantly drill his stuff at home just because Cinderella's father wasn't, this massive character role. So I was like, I have time to drill these other works. And I sat down, and what I like to do, even with my students, is before we even sing a song, we do it as a monologue. So you break down the words, what's being said, why is it being said, what's the importance behind it, the moment before and the moment after. And then once that's finally understood, then you go ahead and you get it up on its feet and you match it to music. And I was sitting there listening to the lyrics to No More. And I was like, this is some heavy hitting shit, because he just lost his wife. He has a baby now that he's like, I don't know. I was always pushing him off to the side and like, oh, I'll take care of him when he's older. Like, I'll do shit later. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. And like you said, like, you never know what tomorrow's going to look like. And here he is, for the second half of Act 2, like, I'm fucked. I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm here. And now I have all this shit to deal with. And I remember the first time I put it to music, I sobbed. Like, I was sitting there and I channeled what I was feeling and how it made me feel and relating it to his words. And I sat there and my mom opened the door and she went, "Oh, are you fucking okay?" I was like, yeah.
The funny thing is that I can hear your mom going, "Are you fucking okay?" Like, just so fucking okay. Your mom is so awesome, dude. Love her. Good dad too, bro.
Shout out Donna Day. But yeah, no, like I get it, man. You know, it's different circumstances. People go through different things, but it's so lovely how this art form that we get to do. You know, you get to do theater, right? Like it's a privilege to be able to do what you love. And the fact that what I love is something so powerful. Because you know, I always did Disney shows. I did Grease and fucking Disney for like 2 years. And you know, like finally diving into something that was like meaty and like it was wordy and there was importance behind it. Like that's when it really sunk in for me as an actor, where I was like, this right here is not only important, but it's like, this is the shit that I want to be doing, because it finally hit home. And I thought that was a really awesome experience. And then after I did Life is the Bubbles, so it was like out the window. But like, you know, like
it's the thing is, you'll do shows where like I've done shows like Hedwig and like Next Fall, where you're like, this is the shit that I want to do. Like this is like the shit that fulfills me. And then you do the fluff because it pays well. The fluff.
It's because it brings in the bigger audiences, you get paid more, and I get it. But if another theater company does fucking Annie or Mamma Mia, I'm gonna fucking lose it.
And this is why I love him.
No more, man.
This is why I love him.
Listen, I want to do Mamma Mia. So
you want to do Mamma Mia? Great. Let me know when it's showing. I'm not gonna go watch it. I can't stand it.
Oh my
Wes
God.
Boca's doing Mamma Mia.
I love you. Don't love Mamma Mia. Oh, like just fucking pick a husband and just figure it out. Like, you know what I mean?
Do you know what show was honestly painful? Saturday Night Fever.
Which one? For real? Oh man, I don't know, man. I love that. I had such a great time. I love Kevin.
Kevin Black, I love Kevin amazing too. Well, we had a great time because we were the only two that like got good reviews.
Uh-oh.
That was a very awkward next day. Especially when like the lead guy, I don't know if they like shit on him, but like,
yeah, they did.
Oh, yeah. I think like everybody else was like, just like back. And then just like me and Kat, I was like, great reviews. And the next day it was so fucking awkward because they kept just teasing. I don't know if they teased you, but they kept teasing me. Like, here's the guy with the good review or whatever. I'm just like, you better. No, I'm just kidding. I think you're an easier target. I think that's why the target
than me. What are they gonna do? Tease me till I cry or scream? There's only two options for me. I either break down or I become a raging monster. Only two.
No, we don't want that. We just want the soft-spoken cat that plays the fucking ukulele and smokes her weed. We love that cat.
I'm leaving that in.
But I had a. Go ahead.
No. It was. Okay, so I love Kevin, and I did have fun doing it because like it's Bee Gees music. It's, you know, who's not gonna have fun, you know, doing that? But is it? I spoke maybe 5 lines in that show. Otherwise, it was like
you sing the shit out of the song.
Well, that's what it was. It
and
was
you
like
look great in that blue dress with that curly hair. Damn, girl, I was like, shit.
Let's into the photo of the two of us. Well, it's the photo of the two of us. Can we talk about your white pants in this?
Sexiest thing I've ever worn to this day. My nuts couldn't breathe in those pants. I literally, if I had one erotic thought, I would have ripped those bitches right off the front. My ass, oh my gosh. I know I got a big ass.
Those pants, you were thick with like 4 C's. Every once in a while, because you would groove so far down, I'd be concerned, like that, just like snap.
You know what the funny thing is? The funny thing is that usually I do a lot of research before, like I do a musical, and I try to get to know the character. But when Kevin asked me, it was like there was somebody that was already cast in the musical, and then something happened where it didn't work out, and then he called me. So then like I kind of it was like he called me one day, the next day was rehearsals. I kind of just read the script and, I kind of just flowed off of that, how I would portray my character. And I was like, Saturday Night Fever. My character is probably like upbeat and fucking dancing and shit. Until I watched the movie like a year ago.
The most depressing
like
role.
Sad, like quiet, like jaded person. I'm like, yeah, that wasn't me at all. I created that. That wasn't even the same fucking character. If somebody came to watch that show for that guy to play it how it is, I'm like, you would have thought that I was like.
I mean, you did have what was that one song that like did not fit in the rest of the musical? It was like the sad song.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It was that jive talking.
Yeah, sure, it was jive talking.
Yeah,
that was a sad
talking,
song.
No, but like, so I loved singing jive talking. I had a great time. Every actor that was on that stage was phenomenal. Like like everything was great about that song and about that scene. But like whoever wrote that fucking song, they didn't put it in a key where it's like you can either belt it or do it like like softly. It was like you either have to sing it in falsetto or in like a fucking bass note. So the entire time I'm like, jive talking, you're telling me lies. I'm like, this fucking sucks. It doesn't showcase anything about my voice.
They did the key off of the woman.
They did, and she sounded great too. But like whenever it got to my part, I was just like, this fucking sucks. Why am I singing? You know what I mean? But yeah, she did great. Thankfully, she's a great actress and a great singer, and carried me through that show. But I
meant the one depressing song where you sat on the side of the stage and like everyone stood there, and then like shortly after you fell off the fucking Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, that addicted to life or something like that. When you're stuck for life.
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah. Something like that. You immediately die right after. And then the last show, so that song, I'm the first one to start the music, right? And this was at Broward Stage Door. So, Broward Stage Door. So it's not like it was a live audience. It was just Nancy back there fucking pressing play. So it's not like you can go back. And the last show, dude, I completely forgot that was the song that came next. And I'm just sitting in the dressing room, like putting makeup on, like because I get punched in the eye in the following scene. And then I hear like the dun 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 dun. And then I'm nodding. I'm like, fuck, this just sounds familiar. I feel like, am I in this? And I'm like, fuck. And I immediately run into the audience. I sit down and I just so happen to know the beat that I was in, and I just pick up from the second verse. It wasn't even the first. It was just like I was halfway in the fucking song already. And I would never forget that, bro. My face was just pale. I was like, if I didn't die off the bridge, I would die right here.
Well, I have a moment with you during our lovely 2 Life 3. I had where he did the same exact fucking thing. He did the same damn thing. So I had 2 songs. It was Making Whoopee, and then I If You Knew Susie. That was my second song. Yeah. But in our script, Bruno had one line, literally one line, and we were doing this at the
entire show had one line, and that was it. That was the one fucking line. And it came out at the most weirdest time. It made no sense. All right.
One line. And I had to point at him, right? So I get done with Making Whoopee, and I say my line, and I point. And there's a spotlight that shoots down as to where Bruno's supposed to be standing. And he's just not there. So I go, and wham!
But I'm coming.
Yep. So all I hear, because the Willow Theater is very small, I hear this from backstage, stage right, and he runs all the way. I hear of him sprinting from the dressing room on stage, and he gets there.
It sounded like a herd of elephants running down a fucking can of Coke. Like it was just like just sprinting. And I felt bad because when I literally ran on stage and Michael almost broke character. He almost fucking lost it. And the fucked up thing is he has a whole other song that he's gonna sing, and I was just like, yeah, like, cause my it was like some zinger line, you know what I mean? I was like, bada ba bow, you know what I mean? And I was really into it, and I started laughing, kind of like in my line, because obviously the whole everybody in that theater heard me running backstage. There's no way to hide it. So, and then I just look at his face, and I'm just like, all right, go sing your fucking song after this shit. I'm out. And he still carried it, but I was like, I would have lost it. I would have lost it. I would have been like, guys, let's give me 5 minutes. We'll start the shit again. But I remember that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, because it happened not once, but twice, Bruno. And one time you just didn't make it. So he was sitting back there and I pointed and the spotlight was empty again. So I hopped in the spotlight, said Bruno's line, and then jumped back off of the spotlight and then responded to it. I've never laughed so fucking hard. Like it was that and then the pool ball incident with Aaron Atkinson are like the two funniest things that have fucking happened to me on stage. It's not even close. And then like it wasn't just us. Like the women too, with Amy and with Julie, they were singing Matchmaker one night and they just had the giggles and they couldn't stop laughing. And they stopped like the song.
Hysterically laughing. Hysterically. Golly, my immigrant side is coming out. Hysterically. Golly. Where the fuck is my green card?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Deport my ass after this episode. Shit.
But no, they couldn't hold it together. And thank God Bobby Pico was at the piano because that man saved our ass, everyone's ass in the cast at least a couple of times.
As good as they come, dude. He's so good. Bobby Pico is just...
We love Bobby Pico.
Bobby Pico is a god amongst men.
Wizard.
And
yeah, he is a wizard. A wizard. We've been very lucky to work with a lot of good like MDs and like piano players. Like I loved working with Bobby Pico. I loved working with Paul Rickey. I loved working with like with Matthew, like so many good people that I've worked with. And I was like, or Paul, Paul Time. I forget his last name. Yeah. He's great. Yeah, but that's wild. But you can't. It's stuff that you can't control, man. Like shit happens in live theater. Dude, I did Cinderella one time. The whole show, I play the prince, so the whole show is the build-up for the ball, right?
Yeah.
And then Cinderella has her grand entrance in her beautiful blue dress, blah, 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 and her slippers and all that shit. Dude, she takes one fucking step on the stage and just steps on her dress and just fucking. But I was laughing on stage for like 3 minutes straight before I can say my next line. I was like, I'm not this professional, honey. I'm not Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and it's happened twice. When I did a show at Broward Stage Door, I played Paul in the musical Carnival, and the same thing happened. The lead actress, she went to stage in fucking line. She stepped on her dress. It ripped down. All you saw was her bare ass, and then she's looking at me, delivering this really sad line, and then she leaves, and then my character is by himself on stage about to sing the saddest fucking song in the show, and I'm just like, Lord, if you can make a hole underneath me, Lord, this is all I need right now, because I need to disappear. Oh my gosh, just take me. Just this is it. Because it's just so hard. You know what I mean? Like, and it happens all the time. Or like when you go up on a line. Have you guys ever gone up on a line, like in the middle of a show?
Yes.
Yeah, I did it in Sister Act, not even a couple of weeks ago. Like it was not a couple of weeks, a couple of days ago. Curtis comes out, and it's literally my fucking third line of the show. And Curtis goes, he says something. He's like, "Oh, hey, Ernie, I have a surprise for you." And he's supposed to say, "Do you want to hear a joke?" "Oh, I know you love a joke." And my response is, "Oh, I do love a good joke, boss." He stopped. So he goes, "Hey, Ernie, I have a surprise for you." And I turned around and I just went, "I do love a good joke, boss." And then I went, "Oh, fuck." And I stared at him and he stared at me and he just went, "Knock, knock." and in that moment, I wanted to pull the gun that I knew he had in his pants and shoot myself before he shot me. It's like, this is the moment.
I'm
What
trying
about you,
to.
Kat?
So, well, I did one recently, but that's because I think I haven't mentioned this to you. I went on for the lead in Disenchanted while split tracking my normal part.
Nice.
And there's this scene, and of course I did not get to work this scene. All I got to work was like the opening number and the choreography for the number Big Tits. And it's the scene before Big Tits, and like they had a storybook. We have storybook props, and so they put my script into it. And so every time I walked off stage, the ASM would like, because I was not the understudy, and I got a call like 5 hours before I was supposed to go on, because it was either that or like the entire weekend was gonna get canceled basically. And so and because I was dance captain, like I knew the majority of things, but I did not know the lines. So so they would take my script off. They put a bookmark every time for like whatever next scene I was coming off for. But I had to do this scene with nothing in my hands because of the choreography. So I'm trying to remember, and it's a scene called The Princess Complex, and it's mainly like me setting up the jokes and everyone else going, "The Princess Complex, the Princess Complex, the Princess Complex," and then I have to cut in with like the next joke. And so I get through the first 2 or 3, and I get to one, and it's supposed to be the Princess Complex may result no, especially concocted potion that guarantees despair. And I went, especially concocted potion that guarantees bad decision making, because I knew that was like the next line. And then like the person who was supposed to come after like did not help me. And so I basically like, and it came back to me again. Then I was like, the Princess Complex may also result in extremely bad decision making. Just to make it slightly different enough. But it was just like, I am on my own. Cool. And thank God the song like starts right around there. And I'm like, okay, I know the music. We're gonna be fine.
No, I had this this person in Guys and Dolls who did the opposite of jump a line. She waited. So as Harry the horse, I'm standing up in the mission when we're all confessing our sins, and this person like is supposed, like, I have a paragraph, and then she says, "What did you just say?" in between, and then like another paragraph, and I said my first paragraph, and then I waited for her line for like, I gave her like a 2 Mississippi, and then she didn't say anything, so I just continued on with my second paragraph, and then she hit me with the line after. Like, I finished my second paragraph, so I just turned around and I said, I just turned around and I went, "I just told you," and then I repeated the second paragraph, and that right there was one of my favorites.
I've got he doesn't listen to this, but when I did Next Fall, it was like a 5 or 6 person show, right? Straight play, and the lead, I'm doing a scene with the lead, right? And he jumped an entire 2 pages of the scene, and of like important detail information. This was like halfway through the run, and like he never happened before. And so the other person that was on stage looks at me, and they're both looking at me like, "What the fuck just happened? We don't know what happened." And so I think they're looking at me to just continue on, but I'm the asshole that's got the cards in my hand, basically. And I'm like, "No, I'm going to bring you all the way back, and I'm going to just drive you through it." And like, I brought him back the 2 pages to like where we were supposed to come in. And his eyes just like wide and staring at me. And we got through it. And then he came off stage and he was like, "You are a monster." And I'm like, "Yes, I fucking am."
Good for you. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, because the audience needs to hear that information. I'm saying it's not about who's saying it, you know what I mean? So it's good thing that you did that.
I was like, well, we're gonna
I
bring it all the
remember.
way back, and I'll make you go through this scene again.
Yeah. I'm gonna make you know your lines, motherfucker. Um, oh god, I probably would have died if that happened to me. But I remember in Bonnie and Clyde when I did it at Slow Burn. Oh my gosh, man, bless their hearts, because there's a scene where Clyde brings Bonnie to visit Blanche and Buck for the first time, and then Buck is like, "Hey, I just want to let you know that I'm going back to jail." You know, Clyde Blanche wants me to go back to jail, or I'm going to go back to jail, I have like this like big monologue of what I'm supposed to say, and for the fucking life of me, man, I could not remember how it even started. I forgot I was even Clyde. You could have said I was Pippin. I don't know where the fuck I was. You know what I mean? I couldn't remember shit. And you know better than I do, like, and Michael also, like, you go up on a line, it doesn't matter if it takes you 5 seconds to get back into that line. Those 5 seconds is a fucking millennium. It feels like everybody is just looking at you like you're a piece of shit. You know what I mean? So
like time stops.
actress, it's the worst. So the actor that can't remember the name at the moment, but the gentleman that was playing Buck, he was like, "Well, Clyde, don't you say something about we have to go to a gas station or something like that?" And I immediately went, "Ah." And then on stage, I'm like, yes. You know what I mean? Like, just like physically, you can see it in my eye, like, oh, everybody, here we are. We're in Florida inside of Slow Burn. I'm playing Clyde. You know what I mean? But I was like, bro, what the fuck? I couldn't. It was just like, I don't know, man. Take my first burn, but don't take my lines. You know what I'm saying? So, but that was wild, man. Shit, live theater is just wild, and I think that's the beauty of, like, especially what you're all doing, like with the podcast, is that every podcast that you can hear, I'm sure from every episode, there's a lot that we all share and we can all feel and we can all understand. And then it's cool that you're giving us a platform of like unity, of like, yo, we're all one piece trying to like make, this little passion of ours work. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no. So speaking of that, something that really unifies us, please. I love audition horror stories. Do you have any spicy audition stories to tell the class?
I got many. Oh my God. First of all, I fucking hate auditioning. And I don't want to sound like, oh, they're not going to give you the role. You know what I mean? But it's just like, I can't, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, I need to like read a script, get into the character, learn the song, put the emotion, just like everybody else. But some people are really good at auditioning, right? Like, I know a couple of people where they can just rip a monologue out of their ass and it's hilarious. That ain't me. I'm most likely gonna forget that shit when I walk into the fucking room, and then it's just gonna be a 3-minute Bruno Faria improv session of what I think the monologue sounded like. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? Like, it could be like fucking to be or not to be. I'd be like, to be, shit, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I won't know. I'll just and then
to be shit maybe with Bruno Faria.
Yeah.
I also have "Don't Take My Line" with Bruno Faria.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, man. I can't. So, man, I'm always nervous, and I think that I feel like the thing I do, the least that I like about it as an audition is that I feel like I gotta kiss ass, and like I hate that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I think it's fair that a director should be just kind of like just as nervous as us, because like we want to give the best product, but like they also need us. It's a give and take. You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes I feel like I'm stepping into a room where it's just like it's these directors and look at me and like look at the work that I've done. Look at my Carbonells, and I'm just like, yeah, bro, but like nobody here is fucking Spielberg. Nobody's Scorsese. Nobody's putting shows on Broadway. Like, we're all just trying to do the best we can for South Florida theater. So like, there should be that commonality. So I always feel like a little nervous coming in, and I always sing the same fucking song, and I got to cut that shit out. But one of my, oh yeah, it's this is the moment, and I've been singing that shit since I was like 2.5, and then what else? Some other shit. Bonnie and Clyde, the world will remember me. Like, and I'm just like, bro, you're not Clyde anymore. Just let that shit go, bro. You know what I mean? So it's always those two songs. But yeah, oh my God, I remember one time auditioning for a director where, man, he made me say the same, like, just I kept coming back and auditioning again and again and again and again and again. You know what I mean? And he just kept asking me to do the same monologue, but like with like a different accent. He's like, okay, now do it with a Jamaican accent. Now do it with like a Scottish accent. It was kind of weird. I'm like, bro, you either hire me or don't hire me, but like, don't make me go through the ringer for you, just so I can get a no. You know what I mean? And then I didn't even get the fucking part, and that's what pissed me off the most. I didn't get a park. I didn't get like I didn't get like like some fucking bitcoins. I didn't get like some like gift card, like for like gas to come back. I didn't get a thank you note. I didn't even get a call be like, hey, fuck you, thank you for wasting our time. Nothing. You know what I mean? I at least prefer some of these like companies where it's like, thank you so much for auditioning. At this point, you weren't selected. Blah 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 blah. Thank you. But like, when you don't hear something from nobody, I'm just like, and you're like left in the suspense. I'm like,
And then you see the casting notice, and you're like,
Oh.
Yeah. I'm like, I guess he went with that fucking guy. You know what I mean? But and I never had bad audition experience where I feel like somebody treated me bad. I've had auditions where I probably felt unwelcomed, and that's a little different. It's not a very pleasant feeling. But like, I can touch on that like in a second, because I definitely want to hear about like bad experiences that you guys had auditioning, because then I can get into another rabbit hole. And as the Brazilian in me, I won't shut the fuck up. I'm so sorry.
no, this is great for podcast material, Bruno. Like, I'm so glad you're Brazilian.
Appreciate it. Ethnically ambiguous is what the theater community would call me.
Same. They're like,
Not me.
You got some Asian in you? Perfect. We're gonna put you in every single Asian role now. I'm like, perfect, because it's me and Jen Gia, and she's on a cruise. That's it.
I want to touch on the word ethnically ambiguous, and I want your opinion on it, Kat.
Yes.
But first, I definitely want to hear any kind of like bad fucking audition experience. I got one right here. I got one. Go ahead, finish yours.
Perfect.
Definitely.
No, go, Bruno, go.
I go in. Okay, I don't know how to fucking, so like, I don't read music. How I learn music is by listening to like the recording. I listen to it over and over and over again, and then I'll pick up like the harmonies. I'll pick up blah blah blah, and then like that's like how I even learned to sing in the first place. So like, I can't read a sheet of paper. I can understand. I'm like, oh, if this little dot goes up, I probably have to sing a little higher. But I can't. There's some people that are really good at that, and like that ain't me. So Steven Sondheim.
Yes.
I can never pronounce the fucking guy's name. But Steven Sondheim, right, is the most difficult thing to sing. I mean, some people are really good at it, but like, unless you got it, because there's no beat. There's no like, usually like you come down on a down beat. It's a
counting. It's like a specific counting.
Nightmare. Yeah.
It's like you really gotta know when to fucking come in, because he didn't write music for people that sing. He wrote it for himself, and he was just like, fuck you for everybody else that's trying to sing this shit. So I'm singing, and what's the beautiful Carol
Fantel? Yeah.
Fantel, yeah. She's fantastic. And she was the musician. And man, I go in and I'm singing did I abuse her or show her disdain? Why? Yeah, that one. So, but I don't remember, because the piano only part sounds much different than the fucking YouTube video I've been singing for the past 3 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she starts playing. For the life of me, I don't know when the fuck I was supposed to come in, when I was supposed to stop. It sounded like a remix. I thought somebody was gonna start fucking rapping on the shit. Like, because I just started singing. I was just like, all right, this is a good place to start, I guess. And I was just like, did I? And she's playing something completely different. But I just relied on my vocal, and I was like, this is how at least I sound. But if
Yeah.
I was the director, like looking at me, I'd be like, what is this kid doing? Because he's not in the right melody, he's not in the right key, he's not in the right part of the song. So like that to me was one that I remember. I was like, fuck, yo, like I feel like I really got to study this particular musician before I ever do, you know. And they were like, and this is my least favorite thing. You want to know what my least favorite thing is?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I would rather a director go, hey, you fucking suck. This isn't for you. Go work at McDonald's. I'd rather somebody do that to me than for me to sit down and they'll go, oh my gosh, okay. So how's your schedule looking like? You guys ever got that shit?
Oh
How's your
yeah.
schedule looking like? Are you booked? What do you have coming up? Oh, and they give you like that false hope of like they're asking you that shit so they can cast you, right? Like, oh, you have
Yeah.
nothing going on in March? Well, this such and so show is happening in March. Maybe I'll cast her. It gives you that false hope, and then you never hear from them. And I hated it because I always got to give like some politically correct answer, and it feels like it's just like this pretentious version of me that I hate. And then like I never felt welcome. And I remember I did that right after singing that Into the Woods song. And he was asking me like, "Oh yeah, well you're blah blah, blah it's so great, this and that," and like never hear from them. And then
Yeah.
I checked the who got cast, and I'm like, this guy, you know what I mean? Which brings me to the ethnically ambiguous word. It's sad, man. I feel like there's a lot of people who are extremely talented in South Florida that won't get used for bigger roles because of either how they look or how they sound,
Mm-hmm.
or they just don't fit the right, the right look. And the thing that bothers me, it's like it's only okay for them to do it once Broadway does it first. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, it doesn't have to be that way. You could be the fucking person that sets the tone and be an example for others to do it also. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And there's been many, many times where I have gone to an audition and I'm like, I think I just absolutely killed this audition. Like, it's the best I've ever sounded, best I've ever read lines. Everybody sounded really good. And sometimes I get a little nosy. I stick around like close enough that I can hear other people sing. You know what I mean? Like I know it's like you're not supposed to do that shit, but I do it because I don't know, maybe it's my own insecurity.
Me
But
too.
like I
Me
just want to
too.
see.
Me
Yeah, but
three.
like I just want to see it. I'm like, I want to see what I'm going up against. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I didn't get it, who would get it instead of me? And you know, and then the cast list would go up and it would be somebody that I'd be like, this doesn't make sense. You know, I mean, like I sing better than this guy. I I have I have accolades as well on top, and I had like I didn't even get a call back. And then it's just like, the most cookie cutter white person that you can think of. You know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, so that's what they're looking for. You know what I'm saying? They're looking for this because this is what everybody's used to seeing on a stage telling this story. And that if a ethnically ambiguous person was to do it, you know what I'm saying, then it might look not as understandable for an audience member. And I'm like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because if you tell a fucking good story, if you can sing well, if you can tell a good story, it doesn't fucking matter how you look like. That should be the least of your concerns, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
and I think Patrick and Matthew so much because I'm a Latin dude that they allowed to play Roger, Clyde, JD. You know what I'm saying? And then God rest his soul, Ben and Andrew, when they had their theater company, I was able to play Radames and Radames is usually, it's played by Adam Pascal originally, I think, on Broadway. And he's like this blonde, white surfer dude, you know what I'm saying? I'm far from that. So I respect directors that are like that because it gives us a chance to tell our version of the story. And and also like I don't know. I feel like the Latin people, I feel like people of like from different ethnicity, they're so rich in their passion, they're so rich in their storytelling that I feel like they need that platform. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
it blows my mind how sometimes like in theater it's more believable that a person is playing an animal than it is for like a person that doesn't look like the role that played it on TV to do it. Like somehow the willing suspension
exactly.
of disbelief has been ruined, because they
Hmm.
don't look how you think they're gonna look. I will say
Yeah.
that I have less I've received less crap because of my ethnicity. I've
Hmm.
received more crap because of how I look. Being a
Right.
fat woman in theater and an unapologetically fat person in theater. Like
Hmm.
I'm not looking to change in any
But
way,
that
shape, or
doesn't mean that
form.
you should always play the. But that doesn't
Yeah,
mean they should put you in a fucking box and only have you play the big girl character. That's
yeah,
bullshit
no,
because you're extremely talented. You know what I mean?
thank you. But yeah, no, it's. I feel like it's hard because sometimes it's easier to lean into what you look like because you can get guaranteed work when you lean into your type real hard. It's more fulfilling to go against type and do things because objectively like you can do that material and bring something new to it. But it
Mm-hmm.
also depends on like a creative team like willing to take the risk.
Of
Because
course, because at the end of the day, I remember having this conversation. God rest his soul, beautiful soul, Paul Ricky, and he mentioned he was like, because I was like, Paul, I don't want to just because it came to a point where it was like they kept offering me every Hispanic person, every Mexican guy, every Latin character, and I'm like, I'm better than this, and that's not an ego thing. It's a thing where like I can just as good tell that story than that person, than how that person is saying it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to just like like just like what is it, subdue or succumb to just receiving that kind of role where it's like, oh, Bruno's the guy that plays the Mexican role every time. You know what I mean? Because that's I don't want that to be it. I don't and I stuck to that shit. You know what I mean? Like I remember one time I did an audition where I was playing a Mexican guy. She called me in to play a Mexican guy, and it was the last time I did this shit. She's like, "Oh, read your lines." She's like, and then I did it, with like what I thought was a good Mexican accent. And then when I finished, she's like, "You don't sound Mexican enough." She's like, "I need you to sound more Mexican." And I was like, "Damn!" Not only is that shit some wild out of pocket thing to say to another actor, but what is more Mexican to you, and why do you think that I am that? You know what I mean?
Mm.
It's just kind of wild, man. You know what I mean? It's just wild. So I do
it
respect directors that think outside the box. And I think that's why Slow Burn does very well. They do a lot of shows that is outside of the box. Where like now a little bit more they got to make more shows for like kids and the family audiences. And I understand that too, like Sister Act and Little Mermaid, but they've always been known to do like shows that most people won't do. And I respect that. And they cast people, you know, a little different than most people. You know what I'm saying? They have, they're good in their badges like everybody else, but I always respected Patrick and Matthew for doing that. And I love seeing people that like were, I know a few people where, most shows that I saw them, they played in the ensemble, they played, a little feature role, and then like suddenly I see them with the lead, and then I'm like, oh shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, because then it gets me excited to go watch. Not only that, it gets them an opportunity to be like, yo, look at me shine. And then it could be another person that can be added into like the beautiful theater pot of like people that can tell story and be leads and things like that. But like Kat and you say, it takes an open mind, man. It really does.
Yeah, I think as long as theater keeps being more willing to change as time goes
Mhm.
on, more exciting stories are going to happen. I still think we have a
Absolutely.
long fucking way to go
It's
because
Absolutely.
getting
I
there
think
though. It's on the right track.
we're starting to have more diversity in theater
Hmm.
ethnically.
Hmm.
I still think that there is a major lack of different sized bodies and different abilities.
Right.
people with
Mm-hmm.
physical, mental, whatever differently abled people they are. I think that we are
Yeah.
still very much lacking. I think we're still not there, but as long as we keep making strides to get there, then
Mm-hmm.
it will get theater will get better. This is where I have the issue with where it's people casting diverse just to say it. No,
Versus
it's
doing
it
it just because they feel like it needs to be like that, and then like
That's a good point, Kat. So, at what point is diversity becoming more important than talent? Because I'm at that belief where the most talented person should go regardless of color. But if now
agreed.
you're only casting because of color, then it's just like, so you can meet some fucking quota for yourself so you don't get into hot water.
yeah.
That I'm not so sure if I agree with that as much. You know what I mean?
I think where the line is, the problem is that musical theater and theater in general are like objectively like expensive fields to go into. Typically, it's people that can financially afford to go into the arts. It typically, I know, I went to a public school. I was able to go to college and take the loans out for myself. That is a privilege in itself. The privilege that I had to go into a field where my family didn't necessarily rely on me. Things like that in general, they're all privileges in itself. Whatever. Typically in theater, it's a lot of white people. The problem and the thing is a lot of those people, rich white people, have access to more lessons, more schools, better schools, whatever it is. So they can objectively be the more talented people. The thing that I think separates that is having access. So access to auditions, access to what, like, getting seen in the room. I think if you prioritize these people getting into the room and being able to show what they have, I think that will lead to more diverse casting. Having the access. And I understand that that's what equity tried to do with open access. However, the access didn't come. The access was everyone can join equity versus the access being we're making it affordable for people with barriers to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where sometimes the mark gets missed.
Yeah. I remember having a conversation with I don't remember if it was a director or an MD, and because I mentioned it to him, I was like, man, I was like, give me a shot, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I have just as good as a talent as the other person. I was like, I just want a callback so I can show you what else I got. And he said, Bruno, this is a business. Like this is a business. You can't forget it. Show business. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, and this is not me quoting him, but this is what I understood from my point of view of theater sometimes, is that the people that grew, because theater is an old art or an older art, right? People go to movie theaters. They watch that. Not that many people, not as many people go to watch theater. It's an old art that people from a while back used to go and enjoy. These are the same people that we perform to now. They're just much older. That's why 90% of the people that come to watch us is, in their 80s and their 70s and their 90s, they're with their walkers and, gives them something to do, blah, blah, blah. So I feel like sometimes when a director casts people, they are afraid that they're not casting the people that the audience type is used to seeing on stage. And if they were to cast something differently, that there would be a negative feedback to it and they would lose money in return, which I don't necessarily agree, because there are a lot of open-minded people that get to, like, their older age and come to watch us. And if they see something that's different, they go, wow, I like that. You know what I mean? But they get
Yeah.
so scared of fucking up because it is a business and they don't want to shut down, that they don't pull that trigger to maybe elevate their theater experience. You know what I mean? So yeah, I completely understand what you're saying, Kat. 100%.
It's a hard line because I mean, like I even saw like when I went to see Great Comet, I was sitting next to an elderly rich white couple, and they were kind of like horrified by what they were seeing on stage. Like not horrified necessarily by the content, but they just didn't get it. And I feel like as time goes on, maybe the open-mindedness of audiences will happen too. I know we have to wrap up because we're like at our hour, which
My
is
bad, my bad.
Past
crazy.
the hour. It was
I
great
had a
hour.
great time.
No, this is a lot of fun. We got to have like a part two because this we can continue on these kind
We
of
have
topics
way
for
too
like
much to talk about. Yeah.
100%.
yeah, for sure. But
And I think my favorite thing about this podcast, at least our conversation that we had today, is that not only do we have like our own moments where we can like laugh and joke and talk about the funny things that happened with us, either on stage together or like just as experience as an actor, but also that we touch on like serious topics and things that are really important to like us as like a whole, you know, like as actors, you know what I mean? And it's really cool. I really like what you two are doing here, and it's I really appreciate you even having me here.
I'm
Okay,
not leaving you high and dry. I got a quick fun question for you. It's the first time I think I've asked this someone on the pod. If you had to come up with a dream season, this is Bruno Faria's theater company, and you were allowed 4 slots, what would your 4 shows be?
Man, I haven't seen much, so I'm just gonna go off of shows that have moved me in a certain way. So I'm gonna go with In the Heights, just to give all my Latinos a chance. You know what I mean? I feel like In the Heights, if done right, is beautiful.
mhm.
In the Heights, I wept like a baby when I saw Slow Burn Theater do Big Fish, like a baby. So I'll probably put Big Fish in there, because I feel like it's just very, very good storytelling. I feel like this sucks because I don't know many musical theaters shows, but I'll probably throw Jacqueline Hyde in there because Jacqueline Hyde is what made me want to be in theater in the first place. So I have a very close feeling to that, and probably like Les Mis. I love me some Les Mis.
All
So I'll probably
right.
throw Les Mis in there.
That's a
I don't know
banger
if that's the
season.
best season or the worst fucking thing you've ever heard.
No,
Say it again?
I think there's some solid bangers in there.
I'd show up for my non-equity contract.
There's a little bit for everybody. There's a little bit for everybody. Jacqueline Hyde probably one that could be switched in if I really, really thought about what else I would pick. Like Memphis, like I think Memphis is great. I'll probably put Memphis in there, interchangeable with Jacqueline Hyde.
All right.
That's
well, I know
right.
that I'm going to take you on a date to the LPAC soon. Then we're going to go see Memphis. We're going to go have a blast.
Oh, they're doing Memphis?
Yeah, they open like in 4 days.
Oh shit! I guess I know I got to go watch some theater.
Yeah. Hell yeah, I'm going with you, buddy.
100% on that. Let me know.
Fuck yeah. All right, buddy. Well, I want you to shout out your socials so people can go ahead and follow you and check in on you and be like, hey, yo, hire this dude.
My Instagram, if you like, Brunski, Brunsk, and then 5 eyes after that. Brunski. It's my nickname, and you know, I don't post a lot of theater stuff. I don't really post much at all. But if you know,
well, the ladies can go see how handsome you are, buddy. Man's playing golf and shit. I'm like,
if you want to see me play golf, perfect. Follow me. But I want to thank you both so much. Like this meant so much to me. I haven't been able to talk theater for a little while. I haven't been part of the theater community in a little while. So it was great that you two made me feel like I was part of something for, even if it was just, for an hour or two. And I really appreciate that. Love what you're both doing. Love the people that you get on the show. Keep up the good work. I'm looking forward to seeing how this comes out and what you edit out. But I care both of you have been part of really important shows in my life, and I care about both of you a great deal. And you two, the chemistry between you two doing a podcast is fantastic. So I'm very happy that you gave me the chance to be here.
Well, listen, Bruno, I'm not going to get sappy too much with you. You know how much I mean to you, but you genuinely, like, doing Bonnie and Clyde with you back in 2015 really inspired the fuck out of me to continue to do what I'm doing today. So the fact that I've gotten to do 3 shows with a person who I consider to be my idol. I really do appreciate everything that you've done for me in my life, and for, just my career in general. But I love you like a fucking brother, and I said that in the beginning. But you're the best.
I don't use that word lightly. I love you too, brother. Thank you so much. That means a lot to me, man. I don't take that lightly. Thank you so much. And Kat, you're wonderful as always. I hope nothing but the best for both of you, and keep killing it. Keep singing. Let me know when you're on whatever show, Kat. If you're, I don't know, because you say you work in Arizona. If you do a show down here, let me know. I'd love to come see you.
I will.
All right. Well, let's sign off here. My name is Michael Matadomini.
This is Kat Gold signing out, and
this is Bruno Faria.
Hey!
Thank you for joining us for Non-Ec Nonsense. We will be with you on your dark days on Monday. Look forward to us next week on Spotify and on YouTube. Stay happy, stay healthy, no COVID.